Long before Paris dazzled the world with its palaces and boulevards, a city in the heart of Africa was already thriving with wealth, innovation, and culture. This city was Great Zimbabwe, the golden jewel of southern Africa. In this video, you'll discover how Great Zimbabwe became a center of trade, power, and culture, long before European cities rose to fame. You'll see how its architecture, gold, and kings shaped history in ways rarely told. If you love uncovering untold African stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our explorations into Africa's hidden past. Built between the 11th and 15th century, Great Zimbabwe wasn't just a settlement. It was the capital of a vast Shona kingdom. Covering nearly 200 acres, it housed tens of thousands of people and became one of the most influential urban centers of its time. And unlike the myth that Africa's story begins with colonization, Great Zimbabwe proves otherwise. Africa was building cities and empires while much of Europe was still recovering from the Dark Ages. The architecture was groundbreaking. Its walls, some stretching 11 meters high and running for hundreds of meters, were built entirely without mortar. Stones were carefully shaped and stacked with such precision that they've stood for centuries. The largest, the Great Enclosure, remains the biggest ancient stone structure in sub-Saharan Africa. These weren't just walls. They marked status, controlled movement, and symbolized power. Inside, kings ruled, rituals were performed, and the elite lived surrounded by layers of stone that spoke louder than words. The heart of gold. At its peak, Great Zimbabwe was fueled by gold. The kingdom's lands were rich in deposits, and miners brought it to the city where it was refined and traded. From here, gold traveled hundreds of miles east to the Swahili coast. From there, it sailed across the Indian Ocean into the hands of traders in Persia, India, and even China. The evidence is clear. Chinese porcelain, Persian glassware, and Arabian coins unearthed among the ruins prove that Great Zimbabwe was deeply plugged into global trade. It was Africa's golden city in every sense of the word. A city alive. Over 20,000 people once called this city home. Imagine the bustle. Herders driving cattle, craftsmen shaping iron tools and ornaments, women weaving, merchants haggling over beads and cloth. Cattle weren't just food. They were wealth, status, and even used in sacred rituals. This was not a city of stone alone. It was a city of rhythm, of family, of culture. Songs, dances, and spiritual ceremonies echoed through its courtyards. Life here was as rich as the gold that fueled its economy. The power of kings. At the heart of this civilization stood the Shona kings, known as Mambo. They weren't just rulers. They were believed to hold spiritual power, mediators between the people and their ancestors. The Great Enclosure likely served as a royal palace, where political decisions and sacred rituals intertwined. Power was reinforced not only by wealth and cattle, but by religion. Ancestor worship was central to Shona society, and the king's legitimacy came from this divine connection. Ruling Great Zimbabwe meant ruling both the physical and spiritual world. The decline. But no city lasts forever. By the 15th century, Great Zimbabwe began to decline. Overgrazing and deforestation weakened the land. Shifting trade routes drew commerce elsewhere. And as new powers rose along the Zambezi, the once golden city slowly emptied. Its legacy, however, never faded. Zimbabwe today. Today, Great Zimbabwe stands as a national treasure. The modern nation takes its very name from these ruins. Zimbabwe, meaning House of Stone. For millions, it is a symbol of pride and proof that Africa's greatness long predates colonialism. Great Zimbabwe is not a forgotten ruin. It is a story of brilliance, resilience, and power. Long before Paris lit its boulevards, Africa had already built a city of stone and gold. And its story reminds us that Africa was, and always will be, a cradle of civilization. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more untold African stories from across the continent.